Alright, welcome back. So now it's time for the Automate Your Network series, just kind of a fun series I like to do. Oops, I forgot to include this in the video here, so I'm going to do that quick. Put it at the top. There we go. Okay, so last time we went through and established access to pretty much all the devices, but we did have some devices that were failing. So the devices that were failing were these Arubas here that don't have DHCP option 12, so we can't get DNS to work on them. Then the other device that was failing was the Linux Cumulus boxes where the password isn't set correctly. And then the other devices were these big Nexus devices. Unfortunately, I would have really loved to use these, but these also do not have DHCP option 12, which is really too bad. So yeah, I've just kind of looked through the menu a bunch. We have things for a server. This is for setting up a server. It's not setting up. It's not for configuring. Yeah, see, we can do option 82. We can't do option 12 though. So it would work as like a server for IP phones or whatever, but this isn't gonna work for establishing DNS the way I want, because I want to be able to use Ansible in a certain way. I want to use it through all the host names, and you can do that with just like the Etsy hosts, just like a static DNS on the device you're on. But my ultimate goal with this is to be able to drop a floor to with basically no configuration at all, and have everything just automatically be able to go with basically the absolute bare minimum possible. That's my ultimate aim. So I guess just updating that Etsy hosts file would be an easy way, but let's pretend that we're gonna build out the data center and we have hundreds of switches or whatever. I want as much to be automated as is possible to automate. All right, so really the best devices are these Aristas. They're the most versatile, with the fewest constant issues. I'm not sure what these are here. So here's the Nexus that don't have DHCP option 12. Here's should have the. I'll just do them all here. These are the switches. So we got Aristas and Arubas. The Arubas don't have the option 12 either. The Aristas are nice. They have that option 12. This looks pretty good. This is a Cisco device. I'm not sure what this is. But this might be a good one to use like as the core device. So it looks like it's a Cisco iOS V. So it's like an experimental V version, particular for like the lab or something. So we do have interfaces up and working on these. We have gigabit interfaces on here. Fortunately, we don't have any 10 gigabit. Um, I don't see any information for the speed, but no 10 gigabit. So these might be good ones for like maybe the Leaf, because like if you have a rack in a data center, you can have like 16 different devices that you got to connect up. So you know what? I think I'm gonna use these for the Leaf in my data center, and then the Junipers for the core. So let's get 4 of these out for the Leaf. For Okay, there we go. So now I'll change the names. So we'll do change host name, and then copy that, and then safety click and delete this one. There we go. And now change the host name of this one. All right, there we go. So we're going to use the Cisco instead of the Cumulus. So we've got all kinds of devices. We've got Arista, we've got Cisco, we've got Aruba, but we're going to have to probably change out the Arubas as well. Which is unfortunate. I'd love to use the Arubas, but they don't have DHCP option 12 as far as I know, unless it's something through ZTP. I'll take a closer look at the Aruba later, but right now I'm just gonna focus on cleaning this up. All right, safety click, very important in GNS3. Okay, so it looks like we've got some kind of issue here. It looks like the hostname wasn't changed correctly. I think that's because I changed it before I deleted it. So it automatically changed it to a unique name. Okay, so now we've got these Cisco devices here. 1 gig looks good. We've got a lot of port density on it, which should be good because these are going to be like top of rack switches. So we'll have like a bunch of hosts on these on cabinets in our data center. So we do need a lot of port density there. So I think this is a good choice. So let's go ahead and cable it up. So we're going to plug in 0 to the out of band. All right, and then 1 to 1 and 2 to 2. All right, so it looks good to me. Now we can't really use these nexuses, but let's make sure that these Cisco devices do have that DHCP option 12. So we're gonna start those devices, and then open up this one and try to get it so that it gets an IP address. And there's kind of a Rather odd buzzing noise. I'm not sure what that's all about. Oh, I know what it is. Alright, well, it's irrelevant. Usually I'll put on my noise blocking headphones. There we go. That's much better. Okay, so let me just make sure it's not corrupting my audio. All right, looks perfect. So yeah, so what I need to do now is make sure that this so if I open the console up on this, there we go. Now I can do a show into description. Okay, so now we've got a bunch of ports up. The management port is going to be GI00, so we just got to do the basic config on here. So description, MGMT, there we go, VRF definition, MGMT, there we go, and then address family, IPv4, which I think is all we need. I can put the other ones on there as well. It's not a big deal. Actually, I don't even see the option for that on there. So yeah, that should be enough. So exit and then int GI00 and then VRF. Sorry, IPVRF. Oh, can I not put a VRF on it? I mean, it's fine. I guess I don't need a VRF on there. It's just kind of a nice to have. Yeah, it looks like I can't put a VRF on there. I think that's okay. Maybe I do it inside the VRF mode. I don't see any kind of way to add a port to this. I'm surprised it's not under like IP VRF. Nope, it looks like it's not under IP VRF. Okay, well this is interesting. Oh, this is interesting. IP DHCP client. Ah, here we go. So it looks like we can have DHCP option 12 on this. We can't have VRFs, it looks like, but that's not a big deal. I'm kind of surprised. You know what? Maybe this has to be a no switch port, and that's why. Yeah, okay. So it was a layer 2 switch port, that's why. There we go. Perfect. All right, so that looks good to me. Next thing we need is IP address. So IP address DHCP. Okay, and then we'll sniff the link here. Look for that DHCP option 12. Okay, so we're gonna type in DHCP option, and I think it's like option 3. I remember it being like really weird, where it's like not option 12. But let's just do DHCP on its own, and then we'll filter it further if need be. Okay, so let's hit it. Boom! We should see some DHCP traffic coming through now. unless I have to like no shut. Okay, there we go. We've got our there we go. We've got a DHCP address now. So let's see if we got the option 12. Okay, so we don't have option 12. It looks like. So let's see if we can enable it. Okay, so let's set the host name first. Let's set up SSH first. So we're going to do hostname lscml01 and then crypto and then IP domain name tech yes .local. Okay, crypto key generate RSA modulus. Oh my god. General keys modulus. Oh my god. 2048. There we go. Looking good. Looking good. Looking good. Oops. Yeah. Let's do IP SSH version 2. And then username gposh. No password. And then privilege 15. Okay, and then let's do line console 0 logging synchronous, and then we'll do a I'm trying to think here what comes next. Line VTY 0 through 4, login local, and then transport input SSH, copy run start. Okay, and then we do need to do some extra configuration for SSH that I don't remember, but it does exist on this device. Okay, so here it is. It's the keychain configuration. So IP SSH pub keychain. Need to be in configure mode. There we go. And then username gposh, and then key hash ssh-rsha. Now hopefully this works. Let me try it like this. Okay, so it looks like there is some issue with that. Oh, I forgot the H. There we go. So that works. All right, so let's see if I can get to this now from the out-of-band management network server. And I don't need the, oh, you know what? I actually do need the, this again. Well, in fact, let's, cause I won't be able to get to it cause I don't have DNS. So, let's, take care of that right now. So, we're going to do show int gi00. Okay. And then control, and then int gi 00. Okay, and then IP DHCP client hostname CML 01. Okay, so now we should hopefully get a option 0, so IP address 191.1/31. Oops. Okay, looks good to me. And then IP address DHCP. Okay, we should get another request now. There we go, and it should. There we go. It's got option 12. Look at that, wonderful. Happy times. Good days. Happy days are here. All right, so that looks good to me. Let's make this a bit easier. We're gonna do a show run. And then we're just gonna take the relevant parts and have this be quicker for the other two. So put this here. Go into a Notepad++. There we go. So now the relevant, anything that's not relevant we'll remove. Okay, so here we go. That's good. So now we just need to change this, which will be the same regardless of where we change it. So we just change it once, and that'll be quite a bit easier. So we replaced 2 occurrences here and there, and then those are the only things that need to change. All right, so there we go. Yeah, and then we've got the configuration for the host name, all of that on there. So yeah, everything looks great. So let's go and configure the rest of these. We might have to go back later to do some more, but for now this looks good. There we go. See how much easier that is? Oh, so it looks like we do have to create the crypto keys first. Okay, there we go. So this line has to go in there somewhere. Let's put it after the IPSSH version 2. Okay, so that looks good to me. So I think everything's all set. Can't forget the copy run start. All right, so now on to the next one. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so now number 3. And yep, we verified that it is sending that DHCP option 12. Yep, here's it from the other one as well. So we don't need to keep sniffing. Okay, so now this is number 3. Okay, that looks great. All right, so one more left. Okay, and I did have a timer going for being not being sedentary. I'm surprised it hasn't gone off. I think there's an issue with my timer, so I'm gonna drop this on there and then check the timer and whether it's working or not. Think hit up. Go on that treadmill. So okay, so that looks good. So now we've got DHCP access, hopefully to all of these. We don't need to worry about the network, their uplinks or anything like that, because we're just going through the out of band. So let's test DHCP access to those 3 devices. There's 4 devices. And now that it's taking some time, I'm going to switch to being on my treadmill. I'm not sure what happened here, but the timer certainly elapsed. Okay. Yeah, I wish I knew about working on a desk treadmill earlier. This is really a game changer for me in a good way. It makes so much sense. All right, so there we go. Next step is yes, to verify SSH connectivity from the server that I will be running Ansible from. Okay, so SSH, gposh, ls-cml, 1, okay. Nothing yet. Okay, that looks good. All right, there we go. So there's no enable password set, so that's an issue. Let's get that fixed. Now it should have been with privilege 15. I would have thought that would fix it, but maybe under here it has to be privilege 15. So I don't see anything about privilege 15 there. So I can define a secret there, but I don't want there to be so All right, let's see if that works. I want to go right to the prompt. Oh, okay. So here's the problem. It looks like I accidentally misspelled my username. Yeah, so that's why it was asking for enable password. This will trip up beginners every single time. Just some simple typo, it'll make you spend hours and hours more than you wanted to. You're just stuck in the lab all day because you added an extra space, you added an extra character, you didn't get the casing right. It's, those are the pains of a beginner. The fact that that took me just a few seconds to find is proof in the pudding that, hey, I know what I'm doing to some extent. All right, so let's see if this works better now. And I wish I could just disable this update for good, because I don't want this to update. So automatically check. So never automatically check for updates. I need a password to do that because that's not a good setting probably. Yep, that looks good to me. Okay, so now we're good to go. Right away, privilege 15. Got that updater thing still up, but let me try to close it. There you go. All right, so let's work on the second one. I think the second ones might also have that error with the host name, or with the user account. So let's see if I go to privilege exec mode, or if it asks me for a privilege exec mode password, a secret. Yep, so it's going to ask me for a secret. So I've got the same issue for all of these. So I'll do show run pipe include username, and there we go. There's the problem right there. All right, that looks a lot better now. Right to privilege exec mode. So we've got 2 more to go. All right, so hopefully we won't even have to deal with that now. We'll just go right to privilege exec mode because I made the correction beforehand. All right, looks good. So 1 more to go. Perfect. Okay, so now we got to deal with these Nexus devices. We also need to deal with the Arubas. I'm kind of having trouble believing that they don't do option 12 because you could. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. That's kind of not the intention. Oh, and I didn't correctly configure the fourth one here. Oh, maybe I didn't go to config mode. Okay, so it looks like there's some interesting problem here. Oh, you know what? It's because I'm not making the correction in the correct way. Yeah, I'm just adding it back without correcting the typo. All right, so now that is fixed. Okay, yep, I will close that session, and then yeah, so the leaf switches are good to go. The next one is these nexuses, which don't have. It used to be option 12, which again I can't believe that they don't. That just seems silly to me. These big boxes don't even have some small setting like that. I mean, it's for education, so it's a stripped down version. I can't believe they don't have it, but I guess they don't. What is the site of origin? Okay, that's not having to do with that. Yeah, I mean, it just straight up doesn't have it. Just doesn't have it. So yeah, we're dead in the water with that, unfortunately. If it doesn't have option 12, I just got to swap it out for something that does. Okay, so we've got most of the network here. Let's do a grep for let's do a grep for so we can do a regex for greps. So we're going to do any character 0 more times, then a dash, then any character 0 more times, dash, any character 0 more times. There we go. And then that just gives us the named devices in the network like that. And we can even do a dash cut on that. Or we have to do on fields. So we could do a get fields. Oh, on a delimiter. So we can do -d. There. F. Let me do a man on cuts. Remember how to do this. Oh, we can't do man pages. I'm pretty sure. Oh, for fields. Okay. So it uses a tab for the field delimiter. Select only these fields. Okay, here we go. So we can. There we go. But now we need to do a -t. There we go. See how this works now? Okay. What field is it? I think it's field 3. Okay, so there's all the IP addresses assigned, but what I want, there we go. This is exactly what I want. So now we get all of the devices on the network through DNS. So we've got all our data center devices. We've got our distribution floor devices. We've got our, and then we can even do like a grep on that. So let's do a pipe grep on the floor 1 devices. Okay, so you can see we've got distribution 1 and distribution 2 for floor 1, but we don't have the access devices. We'll fix that later. Let's do a grep on the data center devices. So these will be the ones. Oh shoot, these are kind of not named that well. Yeah, I wish I could rename these and have like data center -ds for that. But let's do a grep on the core. Okay, so we don't have the core either because those are the Nexus devices. So let's do it on the internet. Okay, so internet is good to go. We've got we don't have the firewalls though, but we need to use special configuration. Let's look at the WAN. All right, WAN looks perfect. WAN is the spitting image of everything looking good. Internet is second best. The data center, we've got problems here. Got a naming convention that kind of doesn't work. With core as well, we've kind of got a naming convention that doesn't work. It won't follow this same convention here with the dashes, which, I mean, I guess it won't be that big of a problem, but we do have, so it'd be, I guess we could call it techyes-core-01, techyes.core-02. Yeah, I want to change these host names. They're just not doing it for me. So I want to call this, so this is floor-OOB. This is core-OOB. Internet, WAN. Yeah, that's fine. This is data center. I wanna prefix all of these with data center, just so they're easier to all pull up and sort like this. And then I want to change the syntax of these as well. So I'll pause it and I'll be right back, and then I'll put those into play. All right, welcome back. Let's keep going on this. So, all right, there we go. Sorry, I hurt myself really bad moving my treadmill. I have a long nail and I'm pinched it and I'm bleeding pretty bad. But okay, well that's just no pain, no gain, right? So pinch your finger against things and you'll get ahead in the world, I guess. So anyway, we got so what I wanted to do was change the naming scheme because it's just not a good scheme when it comes to like filtering things out. So I like the WAN scheme. I like it for int, but for core, it's not following that same syntax, which I don't like. And then for data center, it's just completely impossible to filter out. And it has that CML, so like the device type. I just don't like that naming center. So let's call it data, and then we're gonna call it. So the convention is the area of network it's in. So we have the core area, the internet, WAN, data center, and the floors, and then the device role. So we have distribution devices, access devices, firewalls, core devices. So so let's let's keep that convention going. So let's call this data dash ds dash 1, and we won't have the device type in there anymore. So we're gonna have to change quite a few things. You're doing this new scheme in the config, but let's try it. So we're gonna change it to data dash leaf switch dash 01, and now this is going to be the convention. Okay, now this is the distribution switch instead of the leaf switch. Alright, I like that naming convention a lot better. It follows that rule of area of the network, device role, and then the number of device in that role. So that's a lot better in my opinion. But it looks like the core, we also have to change these. So, and before we do anything else, let's actually change it in the config as well. Okay, so we've got two different places where it needs to be changed. Okay, there we go. So just need to do that for all of the devices. Won't need to change any configuration for these devices here because we're gonna swap those out. All right, looks good to me. Ouch. All right, assuming I made all the changes correctly, got one more to go. I have a feeling I didn't, just because, sometimes it's hard to do things right. Okay, did it right there. So, yep, everything looks good. One more left. Now, you may think, why am I doing all this manual work when it's supposed to be about automation? Well, therein lies the problem. Automation presupposes a network state that oftentimes requires so much manual work to do that by the time you actually get to the automation, it's like just continuing that manual work, especially since everyone's trained in it and familiar with doing it. Kind of makes sense. It's kind of like in the other series, we learned about the difference between find and locate in Linux. So locate is a faster version of find. It's like an automated version of find, and it feeds off of a preloaded file that contains all of the directories. So you're just searching through this file. You're not actually searching through the file system. You're not interacting with the file system itself in any way. So it's really fast and optimized. But the thing is, you have to maintain that file. You have to create that file and make sure that it's up to date. So that takes time. So in the end, you're kind of not even saving time. And then, if you're very good about keeping that file up to date, that you're just burning up all that time. And if you're not, then you might get false results. So I almost feel like automation's kind of like that, where it's just like maybe there's very specific use cases where it makes sense, but like it just feels like the use cases where it absolutely is a no-brainer to set up are kind of few and far between. And then it feels like the effort and education it requires is like where there really is no-brainer situation for it, because you can just keep doing manual and be fine. All right, but these are good to go now. These we're gonna have to swap out these as well, but let's get the naming all set before doing that. So now these are kind of interesting because the section of the network is core, and so let's just say tech yes, just the company name, core 01, because it's the most top level part, so we'll name it after the company. All right. All right, that looks good to me. So now all we need to do is swap out the devices that aren't working. I think I'm going to put some Cisco's here. This Cisco image is pretty solid. So I'm going to put that here. And then I'm not sure what to do with the Nexuses, but I'll concern myself with that after I've finished setting up the Cisco. So this here is actually a great device for the edge. So yeah, let's go with it. Alright, so now it's time to cable it up. So hopefully we can go. Oh, we gotta do it to the managements. Okay, and then we'll do 1 to 1 and 2 to 2. All right, and now we need to hook it up to all the PCs as well. Okay, so there we go. So now the next step is to apply the configuration, which I have preloaded here, a version of it. So we can just modify this version of it and be all good to go. All right. Oops, and it looks like there was some issue. It says that floor access 0 is not a legit name. Okay, so is not a legal lat name. But I don't know. It looks like it actually did change the host name, so. So yeah, everything looks good in that regard. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, we got that same strange message that it's not a legal name, but I guess it looks fine to me. Yep, we did the copy run start just fine. Yep, it got a DHCP address, so everything looks good. Now we can go back to the file here, and if we do it on floor 1, do it on the floor like that. Now we have everything on floor 1 showing up. Okay, so now let's match on the data center. So data. Oh, so it looks like there's an issue here, which is kind of fascinating. Okay, so it looks like the host names never got updated. I think the reason is because we have to pull down a new DHCP address and make that update. So it has to forfeit its DHCP lease and grab a new address. This is a safer way to do it than just to set it to a random one. If you set it to a random one, you could have all kinds of IP address conflicts, so it's better to just know it out and then recreate it. There we go, and now we've got a new one with the new host name, so we can see that it has been changed. So if I do it for grep data, now we've got one of them, so we gotta finish it for each of them. All right, looks good to me. 2 more to go. Okay, so now we've got that. So let's do a no IP address DHCP. All right, so we should have all of them now. There we go. So everything looks good in that regard. So yeah, now we've just about got everything. Next, we're going to need to swap out these nexuses, and I want to use junipers. I'm a juniper guy. I like using junipers. So you know what? My channel, my rules. I'm going to use junipers for those, even though they kind of probably aren't the right device for it. It's probably more of like a, I don't know, ISP device. I don't know. I know that when I worked at the ISP, there were junipers aplenty, including MXs, like MX80s. So I'm just going to use the junipers, my device, my rules. Yeah, so let's drop some junipers and use those. So we've got we need the routing plane and the forwarding plane. And we need to connect the two. Okay, and then XFP, that's the management. And we're going to need 4 of these devices. Okay, and then once we swap them out, we'll need to do the cabling for real. Um, so let's make the first substitution. So the first substitution will be this data center switch. Um, so let's grab the hostname for that. All right, and then safety click here and delete that switch and only that switch. Okay, and then we'll rename these. So what I like to do is to have the host name for the routing plane be in uppercase. So basically I like to swap the case. Regardless of what casing you're using, the control plane will be what the actual host name is. And then I like to name the data plane the same thing, but in lowercase. So it's DS in lowercase, and then data in lowercase. And that way each has a unique name, but they're still technically the same device. Oh, in fact, one thing you could do, I think you could probably give it a non-name, but and then we can raise this one up a layer like that, and then actually I typically think I like this lowered layer because this is what you click on to get access to it. So, but we can move this like down here. These are a little bit tricky sometimes to work with since you have to select both of them, but it's not too bad. So we'll just put both up like this. You can put that one behind. Not a big deal. And there we go. This is our Juniper. We can see it kind of is a little glitchy sometimes. It's just the nature of GNS. GNS can be glitchy sometimes. All right, but yep, that looks good to me. Let's readjust these labels. All right, I'm pretty satisfied with that. Use the shift key to click on it. Or, oh, you use the control key and then you select both of them and then you do a safety click outside. There you go. That's how it goes. All right, now it's time to replace this one. Okay, so now we'll do a safety click and then we'll delete the device. Okay, and then we'll rename this. All right, and then have this one be in lowercase. All right, looks good to me. And then we'll arrange these and have this one go on the bottom like that, and then this kind of be more like that. And then we can hold on the shift key, or we can select it, press control, select it again, and now we've got both of these selected. And there we go. Now we've got them replaced. So the next thing to do is to cable it up. So we're going to start with the management port. All right, and then we're going to cable 1 to 1 and 2 to 2. So 1 to 1. Now you have to be sure that you're clicking on the right icon when you cable these up. That's why you kind of have to have them overlapping in this way, so that you can click both icons. See how I accidentally clicked the wrong icon there? So it's important to be able to click the icon you need to click. See how that can be tricky sometimes. Yeah, so I keep clicking on the wrong icon because the gap between the two isn't wide enough. All right, so we fixed the data center. We got some Junipers in there. Very nice. It's my favorite device. Next, let's fix the core. And actually, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to take my 25 minutes of being sedentary. I think I need it. It'd be well spent right now. And then, I'll finish this out. So I'll be right back. All right, and I am back, and I am sedentary. So let's set a timer on that. It's important not to be sedentary for too long, otherwise it's really bad for health. And from what I've understood in the research, if you're sedentary for more than a half an hour, it can cause negative health. But if every half an hour you do something as simple as walking slowly for 5 minutes, that can be enough to offset the worst effects of being sedentary. So I'm going to set this for 24 minutes, and then after 5 minutes, I'm going to get back on the treadmill. So everything looks good so far. All we need to do now is swap out the core, and then we'll be up and running. Exciting times. We'll be ready to do chapter 6. Now we do need to do something about this these firewalls here to be able to access them. I'm not sure what the book is intending to do with Ansible, and this will be a good lesson if I actually can't configure those with Ansible, because it's just like, this is the nature of the beast, is like you have devices on a network that you can't, neat and tidy and clean do it a certain way. Like there's requirements for how to access and configure things that aren't standardized across the board, and especially not so that a company like Cisco can build a product against it and sell that product. So it's just the way networking is. I think automation is valuable. It's a good skill to learn. I think it's a remote work friendly skill as well, which is really huge. But the unfortunate truth is I just don't think networking is quite there yet. Hopefully this book will change my mind, but there's too many devices like firewalls, IP phones, things like that on the network, legacy gear, where it's just like you can't really automate that. And then not only that, as we saw, their automation presupposes a network state that can't be automated. So like to set up the network greenfield, or even brownfield, but to set up a new device, like you have to physically plug in cables to that device. Like somebody has to do that. So you can't, unless you build a robot, you can't automate that component of it. And then not only that, you need to put on some initial configuration as well. And you can use tools like ZTP or like a special, like I think Pixie booting is one of them, but you're still like pure automation is not this beautiful, pretty work of art thing that I think people would like you to believe that it is. It's still kind of like gross and sloppy. That's just my opinion on what I've seen. It's just like, and that's why I'm doing this project, because I don't want it to be that way. I want it to, if I'm mistaken, and it really is, like if you get your, DevNet CCIE equivalent, And yeah, you can do miraculous, beautiful, wonderful things. Like, I want to be able to do that, but I'm doing that kind of with the expectation that I get my DevNet CCIE for automation, and I can do something that's like kind of cool in a specific context that like requires 90% of the work to get to, and then like the last remaining 10%, now we can do the automation, and where it would have taken 2 weeks, now it takes a day. Whereas before that, it was a 6-month project to get the network up. All right. So, oops, it looks like I did the same thing where I forgot to delete the device first. So let's do that. Okay, and then let's set this to the correct host name. All right, and then position it correctly on the diagram. Okay, so it's cabling time. So start with the management. All right, now we've got quite a few cables. We have to connect a cable to each of the distribution switches from each of the devices. So let's get on that. Okay, and then next thing we're gonna do is hook up Core 2 to each of the devices. All right, that looks good to me. So now we can boot these up, and then we're going to enable SSH on these, and we'll make sure that it has DHCP option 12. So we'll sniff this link and make sure it has DHCP option 12. All right, so let's sniff this link. DHCP. All right, looks good to me. I'm tempted to take a break. This might take a while to come up. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back when this is up. All right, welcome back. Let's keep going. We're very nearly at the point where I can start reading the book again, which is exciting. So we've got to get the DHCP option 12 from the Junipers. All right, so let's get working on that. We have to set up a initial config. We have to enable SSH on the Junipers. Oh. I think it's admin. I'm not even sure what it is. I thought it was just admin with blank, but let's oh, yeah. Oh, you have to do it to ETH1 of the VF. Yeah, okay. So I have to fix that as well. The cabling is wrong. Okay, but it's root. There we go, and then CLI, and then show interface description. Yeah, see how there's no interfaces? There should be interfaces by now. I have to change the cabling, so that's really important. Safety click. Delete that. Okay, and then there's, yeah, ETH1 is connected already, so I have to delete that. Put this into like yeah, ETH7, and then ETH1 here. There we go. Now I got to do the same to this one. Okay, there we go. So ETH1 is there. Yeah, so I think we're good to go. What's next? Oh, right. So now we need to see that those interfaces are available. Yeah, so now we've got the interfaces. Oh, actually there's an issue. Oh, I'm in the wrong device here. There we go. Oops, this is a Juniper. So show interface description. Okay, I think I might have to reboot these. I'll just reboot the whole network, so I can stop sniffing here. And then I'll stop everything, and then start everything again. All right, so now hopefully these Junipers behave a bit better. It'll take a while for them to come up like before. But once these are up, oh, and you know what? I forgot to fix these. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and then I think this one is the number one. Yep. Okay, that looks good. And then do a control and move it down. All right, and then what else we got? Yep, we gotta fix this one as well. Oops. Now, see how I had this one I forgot to do a safety click, but looks like I lucked out there. Normally that would be a huge disaster. All right, I think it's ready to go. So I'll give that a. Let me see if these. Okay, so we're loading the module right now. It usually takes quite a bit of time. So for the descriptions to come up. So let me try shutting it all down and then restarting it again now that the cabling's all correct. Okay, and then we'll get all four of the junipers up and work on configuring those. All right. I think I'm going to take my hard-earned 25-minute sedentary time. So I'll start the clock on that. All right, take that time. I don't know if I was on there for a full 5 minutes. I'll make sure to set the timer next time because it's important that you do the full 5 minutes. All right. So okay, so they're still coming up. It takes a while. And unfortunately, I think there is some initial configuration I need to do. Perhaps that is necessary for the interfaces to come up, but I think it just takes a while. If I remember correctly, there's like daemons that have to start. Okay, so we've got a DHCP offer, but we've got an invalid config. No file server information, so offer is rejected. That's interesting. You know what I'm gonna have to do? I forget how the initial config on these Junipers is meant to go. Um, so I think what I might need to do is delete this and pull up a blank project and pull the yeah. So you know what I gotta do? I gotta shut this down. Yep, and then I gotta pull up another project that has the Junipers set up on them. So like the benchmark one should be good. And then pull the configuration off from them. Yeah, because there was all sorts of hoops I had to jump through to have an initial config on these, and it was like 3 years ago that I did that, so don't really remember what I did. It was definitely more than 2 years ago, which, I mean, where does the time go? My God. All right, I'll pause it and come back when these are up. All right, welcome back. So, I found the kind of stripped down bare bones config. I think it's more than just this, but this is going to be where I'm starting for now. So I'm just going to get that config on each of these. I already finished it on the first one. And then, of course, I'll need to go and apply some more config later. All right, so there we go. We've got the stripped down basic config. So the next thing, I'm just going to focus on one device for now. And then I'm going to get the host name going on it and get the SSH going on it as well. So set system hostname data ds01 and then set interface x or run show descriptions pipe terse terse okay, so okay, so we do have these interfaces up. Okay, yeah, there's no descriptions enabled on these, but yeah, okay, perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. So yeah, we've got enough interfaces. Perfect. Oh yeah, this is exactly what I needed. Okay, so I gotta find out what the name is of the management port. I believe it's like FFX something. So let's do a pipe match. Okay, yeah. FXP0 is the name of the management port. So let's go into the edit menu for that. We're going to set um, unit 0, or we'll do edit unit 0. Set address. Set family inet address. Family inet DHCP. There we go. And then yeah, so hopefully that's it, and then we'll do a set no shut or delete or let's do a show. Okay, and then up show. All right, so it's not shut down already, so I think that's fine. So we'll do a top, and then we'll do a commit and quit, and let's sniff the link. Oh, and if I want to stop walking, I can. I think I'm good to go to just keep walking. I love this desk mill. It's cheap too. It's like, and I have a friend who got it for $250. You know, I paid $400, and then all said and done, it's probably like $450. So they got it for $200 less. Like for $250 for this thing, that would be an absolute no-brainer. It's like, just buy it, even if you don't work from home. But like, if you work from home, like this is worth, like, this is an essential purchase in my opinion. It's just, you have to have one of these, otherwise you're gonna be like I am and gain 50 pounds. All right, so I don't see anything for DHCP. Let me try to force that to come up. So let's go back into config mode. And we'll go to edit, interfaces, XFP0, unit 0, unit, and then edit, family inet, delete DHCP, commit, and then roll back 1, show pipe compare, and we're going to add the DHCP and commit and quit. Okay, so here's the Discover, and Discover should have option 12. There we go. We've got it in the Discover. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Happy days are upon us. So yeah. So let me see here. So show configuration pipe display, set pipe no more. Yeah. So all we gotta do is add this configuration to the rest of the routers, so we'll make that easy. So now we're going to do it on DS02. I like it when they have DHCP12. I'm really surprised that the Arubas don't. I feel like they do. It's just you have to enable it, and the command is like weird. But that's okay. I'd like to use Arubas, but you can't always get what you want. You get what you need if you try, which seems like you should just get what you need as a basic human right. But that's all right. So commit and quit. So there we go. We've got the hostname for that. Now let's work on the core. Okay, so I need to change this to that new naming convention, which we see there. So it's tech yes core 01. Commit and quit. I will say the amount of calories I'm burning on this thing, it's like it adds up after a while. I mean, you can burn 600 calories on a treadmill without it being like that bad. Like burning 200 is like pretty easy. Burning 100 is just like, I mean, burning 100 is like way harder than it should be, especially when, you know, to consume 100 you just lick a little bit of oil. But like, you know, it all adds up and it all makes a huge difference at the end of the day. The calorie deficit you need is just like 400 to lose weight. So alright, so there we go. Now we've got this here. Oops, and one thing I forgot to do. Oh no, I did wipe them all out to a baseline first. Okay, so now all my DHCP leases should be assigned, and it should be the case that each of my devices is accessible. So there we go. So let's filter it out by section of the network. So there we go. There's all the 4 floor devices. There we go. There's all the 6 data devices. And the 2 core. And now we've got 6 internet devices, but I'll only see 4 of them because of the firewall, so I'll deal with that later. I do need to deal with that at some point, but right now I don't think it's the best time for that. There we go. So I've got everything except for the firewalls. I'll deal with that later. Right now, let's verify SSH access. Oh, man. Yeah, I've burned like 600 calories so far just today, just on this treadmill, it says. That's ridiculous. I've walked 3,000 steps that I would not have otherwise. I've been using the treadmill today for nearly an hour already. It's awesome. Got an hour of extra walking that I wouldn't have had. Okay, so now I don't have SSH set up on the Junipers, but let's test it on these. Here, we'll just go through one by one. Some of these are already checked, but feels good to have things work. So if it works, then I'll just get that feel good moment. If it doesn't work, I guess I'll get the feel bad moment. Yeah, we've got a issue here that I'm gonna need to fix. Yep, so I never fixed that issue. Alright, so this is the whole point why I go through and verify everything like this, because their mistakes do happen, of course. And I might need to take my hard-earned 25 minutes of being sedentary here. Really, Okay, so there we go. That looks good. Let's take a look at number 2, and then see if I can be sedentary after that. Number 2 probably has the same problems. Yeah, it does. Okay. And you notice how it's different. It doesn't ask for it. That's because I'm accessing it through console instead of through the VTY lines. So there's different permission settings. In fact, let's take a look at that. Pipe section line. So we can see under the VTY lines, we have login local, we have transport input SSH, but on the console lines, we don't have those settings. Okay, so, yep, so let's fix that error. Alright, so we're good to go on that. The next step, so we got floor access 2, so yeah, let's see that this works. Alright, and it does. So I'm going to take my hard-earned 25 minutes of being totally sedentary. Okay. Alright, so, okay, so we've got this set. Okay, so now we need it to floor 1, dist 01. Okay, and then these are aristas, so it's not the same with privilege exec. Okay, now here's dist 02 for floor 1. Now I wish this didn't take as long to resolve in DNS. I wish there were I knew what was going on there and I could fix that. It might be a good conversation to have with the AI to try to fix that, but let's keep on going here. So the next one is going to be in the data center, so it's going to be data, and then distribution switch 01. So it should resolve. I think it might be a connection refused though. Yeah, connection refused. So we gotta set up SSH on it. Let's do it. Okay, so now we need to enter in the key. So let's get that from one of these Arista devices here. Okay, so it doesn't follow the proper formats. Still have a problem here. So it's got to follow this particular RSA formats. So I'm not sure if I need to wrap it in quotes. Let me try putting it in without quotes. Okay, so we got a problem there. So I'm going to try it with quotes now. All right, so that seemed to work. So let's do a commit check. Okay, we need a set system login, user gposh class, super user. Okay, and then set system services SSH. Show pipe compare. So we're going to add in the user. We're going to add in SSH. We're going to add in the key. And I think that should be everything. So if we do a show pipe display set, now we get everything to apply to the other devices. So we can just apply these commands here. And that's all the commands that need to be applied to each device. All right, so let's give it a shot. All right, so we'll try logging in now. Wow. Okay, so there we go. We're in. We've got full permissions to go into config mode, so everything's all good. Now it's just time to apply the config to the rest of the devices. Okay, so there we go. Yep, that should be fine. Let's move on to the next one. Oops, this one is kind of hard to paste in sometimes. Alright, so we got two more here. Or, sorry, just one more. Core 02. Alright, so everything should be good except for those firewall devices. So let's keep on verifying everything. So we verified DS 01. Let's verify DS 02. Okay, looks good, and have all the permissions to go into configuration mode. So now it's time to verify the leaf switches, and there's 4 of them. We'll start with the first one. Alright, looks good to me. Number 2, notice how we went to right to privilege exec mode. These are Cisco's. So we corrected that error I had that I did not correct on the floor 1. That was corrected in the data center. Looks good. Okay, that looks good as well. Alright, so all the sections to the left of the core, assuming this will go through, look like they are all set. Yep, so this one goes through as well. Okay, so now it's time to check the core itself. Okay, there we go, and we've got write permissions. Second core device, so that's not going to work, so we'll control C that. So 02, core 02. All right, so so we've got an issue here. It looks like the public key authentication didn't go through. Yep, so we can see there's an error here with the public key, so let's correct that. Okay, so I think it's right on this one. Oh, it looks like it's wrong on this one as well, but for some reason there weren't issues with this one. Unless there were, and I just didn't even realize it. Well, it looks like there aren't any issues there, so I'm not sure what happened to the other one. Now we do see that there is a typo here, but it doesn't seem to be making a difference. Okay, looks good to me. Yep, we can see that it's removing this one and then it's adding this one, so that looks good. And let's fix it up for this as well. All right, so yep, I think all the configuration looks good. So let's test it. Let's make sure that we still have the same kind of access we did before to Core 1. And I wish this DNS resolution would not take as much time. Okay, let's check with Core 2. And let me do a mic check. I haven't done that in a while. Okay, looks good. Thank goodness. Okay, yeah, perfect. Let me see my sedentary clock. Okay. So hopefully this is fixed now. There we go. Perfect. I've got right access. Excellent. All right, so now we're going to work on the right-hand side of the network. Ooh, exciting. Okay, so it's int dist01. Okay, and then 02. Come on. Let's get it going. Oh, there we go. So it's an Arista, so there we go, and then 02. And I think I did this before and it was fine, but I'll just do it again. There you go. Looks good. Okay, and then access 01. Zero two. Okay, and then once all this WAN gear is correct, aside from the int firewalls, we'll deal with those later. Then we can start reading more of Chapter 6. Okay, so the distribution switches look good. So just the access switches, and then that'll be the end of this video. Okay, so one more switch left. Alright, so that's the end of this video. In this video I established SSH access to every device in the network except for the firewall, which I think needs to be managed through some sort of GUI, which I can do. I think it does have a an IP. Let's just do that quick. Actually, I'm just kind of feeling it. So if it does have a IP on it, let's see if we can connect to that IP. So it's got a discovery MC address, multicast address. I don't know if maybe I can connect to that. If there's a way I can, yeah, we can always see there's HTML in there, so we definitely need to manage it via some sort of web portal. But the port that goes into the out of band, that is port 10. All right. Okay, so we've got this set IP there. So clearly that needs to be changed. So let's try that. So we're going to do configure system, or let's try configure router, because maybe it's, oh no, let's do configure system. Okay, and then interface. Okay, and then port 9. Yeah, so we're going to do edit port 9. Okay, and then we're going to set IP or set DHCP. Maybe that's it. So we do have set DHCP. Now we've got a bunch of stuff about relays. I don't see anything about. I mean, this is a firewall, so like these ports are gonna be hyper optimized for like. I don't think they're gonna be the same as like switch ports or routed ports on a layer 3 switch. They're gonna be like their own ports with their own features. Now this is a DHCP relay agent, so maybe that is what I'm looking for. Oops, something happened here. Okay, so there we go. Now I think I can maybe do a commit or something like that. Oh yeah, so here's the options here. We can end and save last config. We can end and discard card. So let's go. Let's do end and save last config. I think that's what I want to do. Now, when I did this, I get an object set operator, and it's discarding the settings. So let's look at the full configuration for port 9. Okay, and then it looks like the settings weren't changed. Oops. So I've got to switch to my standing mode. You know what? I think I'm gonna call. Well, let me just switch to the non-sedentary. And then I get another 25 minutes to be sedentary and do with what I will. Ow, that hurt. That really hurt. Okay, all right, there we go. Okay, so good to go. No more sedentary for the next 5 minutes. All right, and let's close out this video. So I want to get to the management on here, but I need to get an IP on here. So I was trying to do that. I was able to change it, but there was no like when I do end, it doesn't actually change the configuration. What happens if I do a next? Okay, and then what if I do a next here? Yeah, see, it keeps discarding the setting. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It's kind of interesting, actually. Oh, and actually I need to be editing port 9. Maybe that's why it was doing that, because I was editing port 10 instead of port 9. Nope, it does that for port 9 as well. Alright, so I think it's a good time to talk to the AI about this.
You are trying to configure DHCP relay service on port 10 and port 9 of your FortiGate device. However, you are receiving an object set operator error, -8, which indicates there was a problem applying the configuration. When you enable the DHCP relay service, you typically also need to specify the DHCP server's IP address that will serve the clients on the interface where DHCP relay is enabled. Here's what you can do to enable the DHCP relay service. First, specify the DHCP relay IP. This IP address is typically the IP.
Okay, but okay, so but what I'm actually trying to do is assign an IP to port 9 using DHCP. Is this how I do it? Is setting up a relay the same thing? Up a relay the way to go about this?
For the oversight. No, if you want to assign an IP address to port 9 using DHCP, you do not need to set up a relay.
That's what.
The DHCP relay feature is used to forward DHCP requests from one subnet to a DHCP server on another subnet. To configure port 9 to obtain an IP address via DHCP, you should set the mode of the interface to DHCP. Here's how to do it. Enter the configuration for the interface.
Set the
Edit
mode.
port 9. Set the addressing mode of port 9 to DHCP. Save and exit the configuration. This will configure port 9 to act as a DHCP client, and it will try to obtain an IP address from a DHCP server available on the network connected to that port. Ensure that there is a DHCP server operating on the network connected to port 9 and that it is properly configured to provide IP addresses.
Alright, so let's take a look at port 9. Okay, so we've got DHCP set. I don't see a actual IP handed out to it. We can find that on the other side. Okay, so there could be an issue with DHCP option 12 on these FortiGates. So I might be able to use a different firewall if that's the case. Let's see what we got going on here. We'll do a start capture. Okay, and then we'll... Oops, so I can have my sedentary time if I want it, but I think I'm good to go. Alright, and filter out this out for DHCP. Alright, and then what we want to do is configure system interface, edit port 9, and then set mode to static. Okay, and then on set mode to DHCP, and hopefully that's enough. We might have to do more than just that. Yeah, it looks like we have to set it to static and then save the config, and then go back in and change it again. Okay, so that should do it. Ah, that's interesting. I actually don't see it showing up. Okay, so there's a few things to troubleshoot. Make sure that the... Okay, so it actually is port 10. It's not port 9. I was configuring the wrong port. Okay, so we're going to edit port 9. We're going to set the mode to static, or configure system interface, edit port. We can leave it to port 9 to the DHCP. I don't think it matters. Okay, there we go. Now we've got the discover packet. Let's see if yep, so 12 is by default. Perfect. Tell me how to configure the hostname on this device.
Sure. Changing the hostname of a FortiGate device is quite
it is
straightforward.
Okay.
Here's how you can set or change the hostname. Enter the global configuration mode. Set the hostname to your desired name. Replace your hostname with the name you want. Save and exit the configuration.
I thought I tried that and it
After
wasn't
this, the prompt should
straightforward.
reflect the new hostname you've set. Always ensure that you choose a meaningful hostname, especially in environments with multiple devices, to avoid confusion and simplify management.
Okay, so it's config system global. Oh, see,
I apologize for the oversight. You encountered a parse error because the config system global command is not valid in the FortiGate CLI. To change the hostname, follow these steps. Access the system settings. Set the hostname. Replace your hostname with your desired hostname. Save the configuration. This will update the hostname for your FortiGate device. I apologize for the confusion. Let's correct this. To set the hostname on a FortiGate device, you need to be under the system global configuration.
I don't have
The mistake in my
system
previous
global
responses
mode.
was the wrong guidance. Let's correct this. Access the global configuration. Set the hostname. Save the configuration and exit. That should properly set the hostname for your FortiGate device.
I don't have system global. You saw it.
I apologize for the confusion and thank you for your patience. In that case, the hostname configuration might be directly under config system. Try this. Enter config system. Then, set the hostname. Save the configuration and exit. If this doesn't work, please provide the available options you have under config system by simply typing show after entering config system. I apologize for the confusion earlier. It appears I misunderstood the structure of your FortiGate CLI. Based on the options you have shown, it seems that you are in a virtual domain VDump mode. In certain configurations, especially with VDOMs, some options are limited or differently structured. Let's try this. Exit the current VDump configuration. Set the hostname in the main configuration. Here's a step-by-step. If you don't have a config global option, then the hostname might be set elsewhere, or you might be restricted due to the mode your FortiGate is in VDump specific mode. In that case, refer to the device's documentation of the administrative interface way to make this change. If this still does not work, I would suggest referring to the specific FortiGate documentation for your firmware version or reaching out to Fortinet support or your organization's Fortinet administrator.
Okay.
I'm sorry for the confusion. In your configuration mode, the option to change the hostname might be absent due to the VDump configuration of the specific FortiOS version you are running. At this point, if you are working within a VDump, it might be necessary to exit the VDump mode to access the global configuration.
Yeah. you
However,
have
given
to
the
go
information
into
you've
the
shown,
GUI.
it seems you're unable to do this
It's the
directly from
only
the CLI
way.
provided. Another method to change the hostname is by using the web way. Log into the
All
FortiGate
right.
web way.
So here's the
Navigate to
act.
the dashboard. You should see the hostname displayed prominently at the top. Click on it. This should open a configuration window where you can change the hostname. If the CLI or GUI methods don't work, it's possible that there's a restriction on your device, either due to its mode, VDump specific, or due to administrative restrictions.
So here's the
In such
device.
a case, you need to refer to the
So
FortiGate
let's
documentation
get
for
in
your
there.
specific version or contact Fortinet support or your system administrator.
Oops, and it looks like there's a annoying pop-up in Chrome. I just want to do what I want to do. Please let me do that. All right, so I think it has to be HTTP instead of HTTPS. Try that. still looks like there's issues. Well, that's too bad. Okay, yeah, I think it's not working. I'm trying HTTP. Let's try HTTPS here. But I don't think either of them are going to work. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't know how to set the host name on that. Let's just set the other one for DHCP and then call it at that. So this one's good now. We can stop sniffing the link. Okay, and then we can do configure system interface, enter, and then edit port 10. And then we can do configure, we can do set mode DHCP and then end. There we go. And end saves it automatically. Yep. Port 10. Yep, there we go. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, so now everything looks better. If we look at the int, we should have the firewalls. Oh, you know what? We won't have them in there because of the naming. So we should have FortiGates. Yeah, so we have one FortiGate here. We should have another one. Maybe it just shows up once because there's a duplicate host name. Yeah, that's probably the case. So we really do have to change that host name somehow, but without being able to access the GUI, I'm really not sure how to go about that. So yeah, that's gonna have to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for exciting things now that I've got the actual networking gear set up, and all I've got left are these firewalls, which hopefully I can figure out. But you know, this is what I've been saying, is like, I don't even think we can hit these firewalls with Ansible, but most of the network we can, and most of that's ready. So stay tuned in the next video where I go back to the books, and actually start reading chapter 6 and applying the exercises to the lab that I spent hours and hours here setting up, but that I have finished. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.